Erika Kirk, the magic hanky, and hugging. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Erika Kirk hasn't gone away. Recently, we've been looking at a number of her behaviours explained by her narcissism, and she's popped up again. This time, she was interviewed by Megyn Kelly, and a piece of footage provides us with another opportunity to help you understand why she's behaving in the way that she is, and also to see other aspects of narcissism in action. Megyn Kelly has asked her about the hug that she had with J.D. Vance. As you'll recall, this was where, wearing leather pants, she hugged him but placed her hand on the back of his head, running her fingers through his hair, which elicited quite a lot of commentary with regard to how it was deemed to be inappropriate given the fact that she was a grieving widow and that he's married to somebody else, and to behave this way in a public scenario. Naturally, I deciphered it for you vis-a-vis her narcissism, and it's cropped up again. Let's have a look first of all at the footage of her in action with Megyn Kelly.
They went to the weirdest places.
Oh my gosh, you guys, please. So for those of you who know me, I hug.
Yes, like, you're an intense hugger.
Whoever awesome. Is like hating on a hug needs a hug themselves. I will give you a free hug anytime you want a hug. My love language is touch, if you will. But seriously, that hug. So I will give you a play-by-play. I'm walking. They just played the emotional video. I'm walking over, he's walking over, I'm starting to cry. He says, he's so proud of you. And I say, God bless you. And I touch the back of his head. Anyone who I've hugged that I have touched the back of your head when I hug you, I always say, God bless you. That's just me. If you want to take that out of context, go right ahead. Again, that to me shows that you need a hug more than anyone else. So if anyone...
They were acting like you touched the back of his ass.
I feel like I wouldn't get as much hate if I did that. But no, seriously, so now when I go and hug people, I'll bring them back in and be like, I obviously didn't give you the right hug. Like, let me touch the back of your head.
First of all, there is her appearance at another interview. It is just over 2 months since her husband died. Now, nobody's expecting her to remain hidden and behind closed curtains, not seen by the world at all. After all, she has a life to lead, children to look after, and she's become the CEO of Turning Point USA. So there's money to be earned and gigs to orchestrate, etc. As part of this, we see that she's out and about, and this time being interviewed. So she is utilising, of course, this as an opportunity, vis-a-vis her narcissism, to assert control over an audience by making an appearance, to receive fuel by way of their reactions, and also to manage a facade. Remember, you are able to interpret her actions through her narcissism. And where the narcissist is engaging in something, there's no such thing as part-time narcissism. Some people fail to grasp this. They think that, oh no, this isn't her being a narcissist, HG. She's just getting out there because she's spreading the word. Everything that a narcissist does when they're dealing with other people is driven by their narcissism. There's no exception. When I am creating my videos, I am doing it in contemplation of them being watched by people, which means it allows me to assert control over an audience. I receive fuel by way of people's responses. That isn't the primary purpose why I do it, but I do receive fuel by way of people's responses. I gain residual benefits. I make money from creating the videos that I do. It may encourage people to engage in my other services for which I make money. So it's an indirect form of driving people to come and understand about narcissism and find freedom through undertaking narc detectors and audio consultations, etc. It also allows me to extend my legacy, which is linked to the nullification of the threat to control posed by the ultimate threat to control, which is death. It allows me, on the psychopath side, to be stimulated. I find it interesting to provide these analyses and explanations to you. Thus, I don't do it because I'm kind. I don't do it because, hey, I'm HG, the fun guy, that comes along with his interesting observations about narcissism and snarky comments about this one's wife. No, I do it because it satisfies part of the prime aims because of my narcissism and part of the necessary triad because of my psychopathy. I am no different from any other narcissist or psychopath that would be taking certain steps. It's all self-serving, and it's the same with Erika Kirk. Although she doesn't know it because she's unaware, her narcissism is driving her to engage in these public appearances because it allows her to control more people, draw fuel from them, and manage her facade. And there might also be a further residual benefit linked to money. That's what's driving her to do this. Whether you think she should be doing so or not, that's a matter for you to make your own mind up about, not for me. I'm simply pointing out what's driving her to engage in this. So we have that, first of all, in relation to her appearance, and in the course of it, naturally, out comes the magic hanky. Yes. It's almost now like a knee-jerk reaction whereby the hanky has to be produced and dabbed at an eye to demonstrate that she's still so overwhelmed by the awful assassination of Charlie Kirk, so overwhelmed, of course, that she needs to ensure that she keeps appearing in interviews, etc., or popping up at the Oval Office, that out comes the hanky, just to reinforce to you that she is honestly upset, even though no tears can be seen. It's performative. It is part of a pity play by appearing supposedly upset so that people feel sympathetic for her, thus demonstrating that they're under control and providing her with fuel. And she's now triangulating people with the production of the magic handkerchief, as it's done to automatically elicit that response. We then get into the body of her answer, which is about the nullification of the threat to control posed by people criticising her for the nature of the hug with J.D. Vance. And she seeks to explain it away because she's a hugger. Just like this one's wife describes herself as a hugger, which is actually the narcissism blinding the narcissist to what they are doing and trying to pass it off as something less nefarious. She's also explaining that it's somehow linked to the fact that she is weaving in her religion. There's use of insult. If you're criticising me for hugging, then you need a hug. That's what's being stated in this regard. She then references, my love language is touch. This is a narcissist that's passing off this behaviour, which enables her to directly assert control, as something which is harmless and kind. It's my love language. She doesn't understand why she does it because the narcissism doesn't allow her to understand that. She then explains why she did as she did in respect of touching J.D. Vance. He was walking towards her, she was walking towards him, she was all emotional. He said he'd be so proud of you. And then she said, God bless you, and touched the back of his head. And then she explains that anybody where she touches the back of their head, she's saying, God bless you. Now, first of all, that may just be a convenient excuse for an intrusive behaviour whereby she ought not to be doing it because it's a lack of boundary recognition. That he is married to somebody else and the manner of that gesture is seen as overly intrusive and intimate and therefore inappropriate. But she seeks to explain that criticism away. I'm actually blessing you. I'm saying, God bless you. And that's why I touch you on the back of the head. Now, some people might say, there you are, you see, there was nothing sinister about it. There was nothing intimate about it. There's nothing sexual about it. You all need to get your minds out of the gutter. But the problem is that if you accept that as being the explanation for why she did as she did, and that it wasn't sexual at all, although it was intrusive and was a lack of boundary recognition, it's out of the frying pan into the fire Because what she's basically saying is, this is what I do with anybody that I meet and say, God bless you. I touch them on the back of the head. What are you now? Are you Jesus Christ going around anointing people in some fashion? That shows grandiosity and magical thinking. So her narcissism, in trying to pivot away from the criticism of the nature of the interaction with J.D. Vance to suggest it wasn't inappropriate, it wasn't anything intimate in that respect, I was simply blessing him, then opens up a new problem, which is you're sounding grandiose, because you're making it sound like you go around regularly touching people on the back of the head and saying, God bless you. Now, we know that she utilizes religion as part of the pursuit of the prime aims. And this is its demonstration here, that she is showing grandiosity in this behavior, and her narcissism fails to recognize the collateral consequence. So it's an interesting example. She has been criticized for the nature of the hug with J.D. Vance. Her narcissism now seeks to nullify that threat to control through this interview with Megyn Kelly, and in so doing, it just opens up a fresh criticism, which is you're being grandiose and going around behaving like you're blessing everybody. That's if you accept the explanation. And again, remembering that you're watching a narcissist in action, there's blame shifting. So if you want to take it out of context, you're the one that needs a hug. So it's not my fault, it's your fault. Classic narcissistic behaviour of blame shifting. And then Megyn Kelly weighs in by saying they were acting as if you were touching the back of his ass. To which Kirk suggests, well, I may as well have done that. I'd have essentially got less hate. So this short clip demonstrates, once again, the performative use of the magic hanky and the non-existent tears as this narcissist continues to assert control over an audience by making yet another public appearance, this time with an interview with Megyn Kelly, and then goes on to engage in the sought-after nullification of threat to control regarding the hug with J.D. Vance, blame shifting by suggesting that it's other people who are at fault, and in the circumstances seeking to maintain control by suggesting that it's other people that are the problem and they need a hug. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.